What's the scariest space fact or mystery in your opinion? Here's one closer to home. The Kessler effect is a theory that a single destructive event in low Earth orbit could create a cascade where satellites break up into tiny fragments, taking out other satellites, breaking up into smaller fragments, and so on, until the Earth is completely surrounded by a massive cloud of tiny flying death shrapnel which could make leaving this planet almost impossible. If you look up how much space debris there already is up there and how many satellites currently orbit, plus the continued growth of the commercial space industry, I think about it a lot. This visual that either shows how slow light speed is or how vast space is, depending on which way you look at it. I've seen videos showing the scale of the universe before, but this one really hit home for some reason. The speed of light, the fastest speed possible, looks painfully slow when you look at it in the context of even a fraction of our solar system. We're stuck here, aren't we? Some stars are even bigger than the distance between Mars and us. Imagine, it takes light some time to travel the object producing it. It's crazy. Gamma ray bursts. We could be hit by one of these with very little warning, and if it was reasonably close, in universal terms anyway, could wipe us out rapidly or cause a ton of damage. Dark matter / dark energy. The fact that about 95% of the universe is made up of matter we can't see or detect is pretty unsettling to think about. Also, while not a fact per se, I like to think that perhaps the answer to the Fermi paradox is there are billions of advanced alien life forms out there, but they are physically unable to reach us due to technological limitations. Perhaps interstellar transport is only theoretical, and any aliens capable of reaching us are unable to do so in an acceptable length of time. Proxima Centauri may take 25 years for unnamed spacecraft to reach us, going 20% the speed of light, but perhaps it's impossible to transport actual life at these speeds without dying, so advanced civilizations have realized the futility of trying to contact other species and have given up. I remember reading about a theory that says we haven't found life because the closest possible area is so far. We would essentially be observing a planet at the same point in time as ours before dinosaurs. Rogue planets. Planets that do not follow any given orbit. They may have been in an orbit at one time, but now they refuse to play by the rules. They were most likely knocked out of their orbit by another body, and now they are set on doing the same. The Bodas void, an area of space where there should be 50,000 or so galaxies, compared to other areas of the same size, but there's only about 60. Could just be empty space for some unknown reason, or it could be an ever-expanding intergalactic empire using Dyson spheres. Also, I think it appears to be growing, but that could just be galaxies moving away from the void. Since the universe is expanding and stars and galaxies are moving far away from each other, it's possible that civilizations that spring up in the far future with lonely stars will see an empty sky. Their civilizations will grow and learn, but they will never know the universe that once was. We live in a spectacular time period where we can actually look back in time and see the early universe. Future civilizations won't have that luxury. They'll believe that the universe is, and always was, dark, dead, and empty, aside from their small island of light. With that in mind, you have to wonder what stellar phenomena may have populated the universe billions of years ago, but now are too far away for us to ever detect. What was before the Big Bang? I think it is just impossible for a human to comprehend pure nothing or infinity. I myself had a stroke at age 9 due to a ruptured verbal artery and lost a third of my visual field. I can confirm that it is not black. A good analogy is like it is what you see behind your head. On the other hand, infinity is so large that if you spent your whole life writing a 1, then zeros on paper, that insane number would still be 0% of infinity. I just think there is no way to fully understand the universe, and there never will be. This is why even ancient societies explained things with gods, because they didn't understand how the reality we live in started, and I don't think we ever will. The Great Attractor is kind of ominous. There's an exoplanet with wind that's many times the speed of sound and that rains glass. Another exoplanet that has spent time inside its star. There's a sort of fear that we aren't alone in the universe. Chances are anything we meet won't have remotely similar emotional spectrums that we have. Then there's the horrifying notion that we are alone in that infinite blackness. That we're just a fluke of chemistry that will probably never happen again. The fact that an asteroid could come at any time, and even though we have the technology to tell us that an asteroid is about to impact Earth, what can we really do about it? Nothing. We can do nothing. We can just sit here, with the media stations telling us what will happen, telling our friends and loved ones goodbye, praying, etc. It sucks. Why do we have the technology that tells us our inevitable doom is days or even moments away, but no technology to possibly stop it? We have sent out maps of how to find the Earth based on maps that show where our sun is, relative to pulsars. If anyone finds our probes, it's likely they will be able to find us. I don't think it's scary that an alien race will find these and come to destroy us. I think any species with the technology to seek us out would be completely unthreatened by what we have. What I fear is they gift us technology and we use it to destroy ourselves. Edit. If anyone's curious, the pulsar map was first sent out in 1972 on the Pioneer 10 space probe. It has been sent out a further 3 times. The third and fourth times were on the Voyager space probes as part of the Voyager Golden Record. This included lots of images and audio of the human race. Carl Sagan wanted to put a Beatles song on it, but hilariously EMI declined on copyrighted grounds. The main problem is pressure. There isn't any. So, don't hold your breath or your lungs will explode. Blood vessels rupture, exposed areas swell. Fun fact, the boiling temperature of water is much lower in a vacuum, which means that your sweat and your saliva will boil, and will the fluids around your eyes. You won't notice any of this because 15 seconds in you've passed out as oxygen bubbles formed in your blood, and 90 seconds in, you're dead. Humans exist within a time frame of Earth's life where the moon is just at the right distance that we have a solar and lunar eclipses the way we do now. The coincidence is just a little too uncanny for my tastes. But it also shows how things can just majestically turn out the way they do out of pure chance. Strange matter. It might not exist at all, but some scientists believe it's what's inside neutron stars. If this is true, neutron stars can collide and send strange matter particles flying through space. It's also theorized that strange matter might turn everything it touches into strange matter. If that's true, any microscopic amount of strange matter that touches our atmosphere would quickly turn Earth and everything on it into strange matter, destroying all life in nearly every remnant of civilization, and there wouldn't be a damn thing we could do about it. Again, this is all theoretical. Strange matter might not have such a massive effect, and indeed it might not exist at all. But there is a non-zero chance that an undetectable, microscopic particle is flying toward Earth ready to eradicate everyone and everything. There was a star 20,000 light-years away that put out a burst of energy in 2/5 of a second that was more energy than our own sun produces in 100,000 years. It was enough to disrupt satellite and GPS signals. If that star was only half the distance away at 10,000 light-years, it would have stripped the Earth of its atmosphere and irradiated the Earth enough to destroy all life. You know those classic utopian sci-fi stories, where benevolent aliens come down and end all the wars and uplift them to super intellects and give everyone malicious technology and immortality and welcome them into the peaceful galactic union and everything? Ever wonder why, if aliens are roaming around faster than light, they haven't swung by us yet? One of the answers to that question, we might be the first. Depending on how long it takes to develop, we might be the first to evolve to a point where we could plausibly make that happen without nuking ourselves into oblivion or destroying our atmosphere or what have you. It might be up to us, whether we make it or not as an interstellar species. We have the responsibility of getting our shit together, because it may well be up to us to save everyone else. Uncountable genocides, wars, famines, death on the scale larger than our species has ever understood. Literally the fate of the universe might depend on us. I look around at us now, and that's what scares me. 1. We are the only intelligent beings in the entire universe. 2. We aren't the only intelligent beings in the entire universe. Both are equally terrifying, yet one of them is true, and we don't even know which one that is. I think what's scarier is 3. We weren't the only intelligent beings in the entire universe, but we are now. Something killed them all, and we don't know what or how. Maybe they annihilated themselves. Maybe someone or something wiped them all out. We don't know. All we know is that we are alone now. Pale blue dot, an image of Earth taken by the Voyager 1 space probe from a distance of 6 billion kilometers. Seeing the whole world on Earth is unimportant in comparison to the ghastly vastness of the universe is scary. On the other hand, it is the most exciting thing about it. Gives a whole new perspective on life. We don't know much about what's happening. Why should we? Check out Carl Sagan's pale blue dot speech. There are 4 main forces that govern pretty much everything in the universe. The string nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, electromagnetism, and gravity. Of these, gravity is by far, like, several orders of magnitude. The weakest of the 4, on a scale of 1 to 10, gravity would be around 0.001. I'm fuzzy on the actual math, but it's basically a kitten versus 3 adult tigers. Now go outside at night and look into the sky. You're not looking up. Not really. You're looking into infinity through a super thin skin around a rock. All of those stars you see are gigantic furnaces of electromagnetic and nuclear power, and the only thing keeping you from falling off this spinning ball of dirt and into that infinity forever is gravity. A few years ago, a neutron star experienced a star quake, and for a brief moment, a crack formed in the star's ultra-dense outer shell, releasing a terrifying amount of energy. Even though the neutron star was thousands of light years away, the burst of mostly gamma rays traveled across the galaxy to damage the very satellites we sent up to detect neutron stars, which wasn't something scientists thought could happen. If something similar happened to a neutron star within 1,200 light years of Earth, it could fry off the atmosphere of the planet. Luckily, the closest neutron star of that magnitude is over 60,000 light years away. The mere concept of a black hole spooks me. An infinitely small object with a gravitational presence larger than some stars that alters space and time and simply erases anything that gets too close. The gravitational lensing of the light from stars behind seems supernatural when you see it, but even worse, we owe our galaxy to them since there is a supermassive black hole, scary name, at the center of ours. More space flight than actual space, but probably knowing that when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded in 1986, the crew didn't die instantly. This was because the crew capsule stayed intact and pressured until it hit the water. And also when the astronauts' remains were recovered, it was noted that several of them had activated their emergency life support packs. They were alive the whole way down. That the Earth is way overdue for a civilization/all life-ending event. Meteors and asteroids didn't just stop hitting Earth. Will it happen in my lifetime, my kids' or my grandkids' lifetimes? Or 1,000 years from now? Humans have only been here for a minute amount of time over the course of the Earth's complete history, and many things have happened to completely wipe out almost all life as we know it. The fact that we're only a minute in Earth's history is f***ing terrifying too. All of this work, and all of the change we did into our planet, and it's only been a minute in her lifetime. I would say the Great Filter. The fact that if we find other species that are at our technological level, it means that humanity is doomed to die, and we'll have to live knowing that our death is coming, scares me. The theory of the Great Filter is based on the fact that we haven't seen any other civilization or their traces in the universe, while it is statistically impossible that we are alone, so there must be something that makes it impossible for species to go out in space and destroys them. So, either we have passed the Great Filter and are the first ones to do so, or we are not the first ones and the filter is ahead and no civilization has survived it. The fact that if we meet aliens or their remains of civilizations, we are doomed is based on the probability that the more extraterrestrial life we meet, the more likely it is from being ahead of us. We have some clues about filters, like being around the right star, the birth of monocellular life, multicellular life, the intelligence ability, the list goes on, but we don't know if one of those is the Great Filter or if it is still awaiting us. The thing about space is, there's no air out there, lots of radiation, gravity wells, or lack thereof. Space is even more hostile than any environment on Earth, so of course, people want to challenge themselves and explore, but it's incredibly expensive, and people aren't united in seeking space travel or habitats. And there are so many other ways to spend resources that would improve life for people on Earth. Bottom line, space is there. When our galaxy collides with the Andromeda galaxy in a certain amount of billion years, chances are not a single solid body will actually physically touch another due to the extreme distances between objects. However, even with that lack of contact, there will still be enough friction to create extreme, world-ending heat and destroy everything. The Sun might have an evil twin named Nemesis. This stands as a theory since astronomers have been searching for Nemesis since the 80s. Nemesis has been catapulting asteroids onto Earth's course every 26 million years or so, meaning Nemesis is to blame for killing the dinosaurs. Some believe that the light coming from Nemesis is actually infrared, explaining why nobody on Earth could ever find it. Since infrared light is invisible to the human eye, there is reason to believe that yes, Nemesis did exist and is the Sun's twin, but it has traveled out of orbit and now resides in the Milky Way galaxy. A rogue planet could just come hurtling through and end us. All of human history, every achievement, every nation, religion, idea, every bloodline, every place, every ounce of art, every human, and every work by human hands and minds, political theories, every one of them, your favorite restaurant, your least favorite restaurant, your pet, your favorite YouTuber, your childhood home, every photo of everyone you've ever loved, the legacy of your Purple Heart, Medal of Honor, Grandpa and the 30 men he saved in world wars, Black Lives Matter, COVID-19, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Gonzers, and any possible action we as a collective species, pulling together everything we've got, could take in response would be as equally effective at preventing it as you typing out the response right here and now would be. Think about how silent the night sky has been. We haven't heard from any life forms at all. Imagine being in the center of a very densely populated city like New York. Imagine being in an apartment building. Now imagine every light in the city is out. The whole city is dark, except for your apartment. The lights are on and you can be seen for miles. Basically everything about space should fill you with an existential dread. Hope this hasn't been brought up yet, but NASA was wondering why they lost one Mars probe after another. The umpteenth one sent a pic right after its sensors showed it must have been hit by a larger object. The shadow of said object could be seen on the pic on Mars' surface, being perfectly cylindrical and several miles long. I'd rather not go into thinking too much about that one. The most terrifying mystery in my opinion, the afterlife. What comes next? You all have your beliefs and so do I, but there is always the chance of you or I being wrong, because we just can't see into the abyss of death. And if we are wrong, what's going to await us? Is it going to be an angry God waiting to send us to the bad place for not praying for him? Are all the human gods fake and the real God is someone that humans don't know of, because we don't know of the morals of God? Morals change from person to person, so what are his morals? We could be punished for something that we thought was good, but they thought was bad. Do we end up as lonely as ghosts, forced to watch the living forever? Could we feel pain as ghosts? What about being reborn? Will we be forced to live life after life as a human? Or what about being reborn as an animal? Will we be forced to live as creature after creature, getting torn apart by predators? And if so, what happens to us when all life dies? So many possibilities, and each one is more horrifying than the last. That one day in the future we might be able to travel so far that by the time we get to our destination, humanity is already there and beaten us to it. But wait, how could that happen? Imagine we set off for a planet 1,000 light years away at the speed of light, so the trip is going to take 1,000 years. Now, 300 years into the trip, we invent a new mode of transport that's twice as fast. Yes, I know this means the ship is going faster than the speed of light, but as a rough example for easy math, they send another ship via this new mode of transport to the same planet. This second ship arrives in 500 years, leaving the first ship a full 200 years from reaching the planet. By the time the first ship gets there, the second ship, and humanity, has already been there colonizing the planet for 200 years.